Hi, welcome to All Book 21 Days Challenge. In this series, I'm sharing with you 21 life-changing books that you could read during this lockdown period and make the most of this time. So today I have a very special guest, Kerrie Phipps. Hi, Kerrie.
Hi, Malika. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And how are you doing?
Very well, thanks. And I was just thinking, Malika. That's my Aussie accent.
It sounds good. So
Great.
Kerrie is international speaker. She's also a leadership coach and the author of the book "Do Talk to Strangers." And today we're going to talk about her book, "Do Talk to Strangers," which is very relevant. And I love it personally because I'm a little scared of strangers. This book is about how to connect with anyone, anywhere. So I'm looking forward to this. So, Kerrie, please talk to me about this book.
Well, this is a book that has really changed my world. It's my third book and the one that I'm most known for, and the one that people asked me to write. And, I grew up feeling like in a country town on a farm, feeling very insecure, inhibited, isolated, and all the reasons why I wouldn't want to just go and talk to people. I always felt that everyone else was more educated, more elegant, more eloquent, more professional. And I found that from 2004, when I began coaching, I found that it was the conversations that I had with people that would open extraordinary doors of opportunity. But it wasn't until I'd be telling a story to friends or clients or colleagues and say, oh, I was on the train and I met this person and then this great conversation happened. And they would say, hang on, how is that not weird to, because we might swap business cards or I might introduce them to somebody. And people just started asking me questions about, how does this happen? And I'm like, I guess I just said hello. And so initially the book was about talking to strangers, but I just wanted to share the joy of it because I discovered this freedom that when I got out of my own way, when I was not in that space of being nervous or worried about myself, but when I was, focused on others and just in the zone having great conversation, that great things happened. So I wanted to encourage people to do that. But then friends were saying, no, you can't just tell us your stories because then we just wish we were like you. And they thought that I was confident. And I'm like, no. They said, you have to teach us how to. So it actually took 2.5 years of a lot of conversations and reflecting, and because I kept meeting people in that space as well and having more conversations. And so it really was quite a big project, but it took me deeper into what was I thinking in certain situations where I stepped forward and was braver than maybe I would have been previously.
Yeah, it really does take courage and a knack to connect with people. So, uh, how do you think, especially in the lockdown period where we are isolated, socializing is pretty much zero, how do you think our audience could use some of the tips from this book to connect with themselves or with their family or with friends?
Yeah, I love that you said connect with themselves first, because we are better connectors with others when we can connect with ourselves, when we can hear ourselves think. Because I realized that, I could walk into a room, maybe a networking function, and I'm sure they will happen again, so we can think about the future, but we'll also talk about now. But, I could walk into a room and feel intimidated, feel like, I was the least professional person there, or I could look for opportunities to help other people feel welcome. And so I realized it's the conversation that I have with myself first, that what's the connection within myself, so I can hear that conversation and then change it to something more useful. So rather than, oh, what will they think? And we need to consider this at the moment when you're connecting with people online or wondering, should you call somebody? What will they think? And we have all of these worries. So to be able to think, right, what's a better conversation to have in my head? And this actually takes me back 2 years ago. One of my early coaching clients wanted to call the media about she was doing some really amazing things and had overcome some massive challenges and was launching her first book, but she felt hesitant to call the media. And I said, so what's the conversation in your head about this? And she said, well, I guess I'm thinking that they'll go, oh, I don't have time for this. Or, all the things that we think when we want to call somebody and then we just don't want to interrupt their day. And I said, so if you're going to make an assumption, what's a better assumption? And she just went, oh, well, I could just imagine that they'll say, Julie, darling, how wonderful to hear from you. And then she laughed and she said, oh, that's a much better conversation to have with myself before I pick up the phone. And that was a great moment of clarity for me too, because I just thought, yeah, it's about the conversation that we have with ourselves. So it definitely starts with that. Then we can be thinking about how we connect with others. So actually in the book, and I know you have it there to read, but I'm not sure if you've got to the asking model yet. But I also have little resource cards that generally I put in the book. But there's an example of it. So this is a framework, and it starts with A for awareness, and it's self-awareness and then awareness of others. There it is. So
yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, people can grab the first part of the book from my LinkedIn account, and you can just download that for free. So when we consider what's a better conversation that I can have, how can I serve others? Because we let go of that nervousness if we are thinking about others. Who can I encourage today? How can I help somebody feel welcome or included or thought about? That shifts our energy completely, and then we can have a great conversation because we get out of the way.
Yeah, that's beautiful what you said, because most often when we want to talk, we make it all about ourselves. That what will they say, what will they do, how will I feel, what will I be feeling about it, or what would be the reaction or response, and how will I deal with it. But the way you have put it, that let's make it about the other person and see how you can help, you can encourage, how you can contribute. I think that is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. And I think there's things like sometimes there's just a comment that somebody's made that sticks with you. And for me, it was an author from Australia and business development coach, Dale Beaumont, who said, progress is better than perfection. And sometimes that's come up again recently. Somebody said the other day on a webinar, I think, this is not a time for perfection. And I thought that's so true, because we're all in this together. We're all dialing in from home, and some people have kids or pets running around. And if we are trying to get everything perfect, and it's just turned dark here in Australia, and so the light's not great. So I could be worried about, is this going to look okay? But that's really so irrelevant, because it's about the conversation. So if we can let go of that need for perfection and just show up to serve, to encourage, and I would encourage people to choose a focus, so that you can let go of the nervousness or the sense of inadequacy, or, that conversation that says, oh, I'm an introvert, to put that aside by choosing a better focus. So choosing to show up and encourage, or choosing to show up to learn. There are so many great opportunities to learn and to connect with people who you might not actually have connection with otherwise. I've seen some of the most famous artists in the world are just going on live streams and sharing their talents with the world, and it's beautiful. It's great if we can just show up to learn, or to give what we can give to the world right now.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing this book, Kerrie. And Kerrie's book is available on Kindle. Do check it out, guys. I think it is very relevant now because for those of you who are like me, who are scared to start a conversation, this is perfect. And this is one of the life skills that must have. And I'm certainly going to read this book. And I'll get back to you on this, Kerrie. But I thank you so much for bringing this wonderful book.
You're so welcome. And thank you for connecting with people and sharing your book, because I think it's beautiful.
Pleasure. And to all the audience out there, I'm going to come back tomorrow with another life-changing book. Till then, stay home, stay safe. Goodbye.
Bye.